Hello and welcome to a Smurd P video, and I could have sworn this was just Marvel Legends, but it says Marvel Studios X-Men 97, and then down here it's got Marvel's Rogue and then Hasbro. So yeah, there we go. No Marvel Legends series on the back. There we go. I was confused for a moment. The rest of the cast: Magneto, Wolverine, Storm, Bishop, Gambit. I think it says Marvel when there's a copyright thing, etc. So it's clear that this is about Marvel's Rogue and not somebody else. Front packaging looks very, very nice. Nice artwork there, and really cool artwork there. In terms of that, it's just got the casts that have been released in this, and then there's a nice big X in the background. So let's get Rogue out and have a closer look. So with this release, there is no Build-A-Figure, and they are not going with their environmentally friendly packaging. They've gone back to the see-through plastic, retro-looking waves, and I think that's how they get away without having to insert the Build-A-Figure piece. So this version of Rogue will be based off this new 97 series, which I believe was meant to be released in August this year. However, I think it something to do with the writer's strike, etc. in the US or everywhere. I'm not entirely sure, to be honest with you. I've not been keeping up with it. It was pushed back, and I'm not sure how far it's pushed back. I mean, when they first announced it, I already thought that, well, that's not till like next year. I thought that was long enough. So we've got an even longer wait to see what they do with the characters. She's got a green jacket rather than the brown. Nice X on the side there. And you can see there she is holding her glove, ready to take it. So you can stick this hand on here. It would have been better if it came with this hand, but I guess there was a risk of the fingers breaking. You can see she's taking off the glove and she is ready to absorb somebody's powers. I'm really interested to see if they evolve the character like they do in the comics as well. It'll be really interesting whether they keep to the standard regime. I'm not gonna lie, this figure standing, it felt a bit terrible at times. I really struggled to even get into a position to stand, etc. So, and also I feel like this is a female mold that we have seen probably plenty of times before. So you can see the head goes around really, really nicely. You can also see that there is more white than perhaps there has ever been before. So the arm can go up. I thought there was a butterfly joint there. There's a spin on that ball joint there. There is only the single on there. It is very thin. Do be careful. But also what looks cool like that is there does not seem to be a visible pin. The wrist can turn around like so. Go up and down like that. And then the movement is all in the chest piece there. Sorry, I'm not even showing you. It's all in the chest piece and nothing at the waist. Swivel on the thigh. And then she does have, once again, pinless double joints on the legs, which is very, very awesome. And then you got a left, a righty, very tight upsy, very tight downsy, but it is there. I don't want to put too much pressure on it. This figure was very stiff, and there are plenty of options to loosen that up, etc. So in terms of overhand, she comes with a closed fist here, so in case you don't want to do that. And then very simply, just pull that off. Just be careful, this bit does pop off as well. So just be aware of that. And then you can add, oh my goodness. Yeah, that would have been embarrassing, breaking that peg on screen. And then you can have her, I got you in my sights, going on there. It is very, very, a very nice Rogue. I did see the head sculpt, and I don't know what it is. Just seems a bit bizarre about it. But yeah, that's definitely Rogue. The hair certainly feels a little bit lighter than the brown. But I've got to admit, you know, they could have just carried on with the animated ones that they were doing last year, where they were putting the shade on, etc. Some of them actually did look very, very nice. And not an overall fan of shading, etc. But it certainly did work. So I feel like other than Storm and Wolverine, the characters that they're releasing haven't had the cell treatment as such. So I feel like they pick characters outside of that. You know what? Thank you, Rogue. That is the second time this week I've done a review, and my camera's going wonky donkey. But this time, as you can see, it was all down to Rogue, and this is what I said about trying to get her to stand in a decent pose is a bit not always straightforward. But let's show her with some other rogues that we have had in the past. Okay, so here are all the rogues we have received in the past. At least I think so. I did madly go through my X-Men drawers this afternoon just to try and find them. So we've got the 2016 Build-A-Figure Warlock Rogue, which was the first release of the classic 90s Rogue. Previously, the Toy Biz one had, which was awful, although it did have a leather jacket, which was very cool, and was in my set for a very long time. This was a replacement. My problem is, this is probably the only figure in my X-Men collection that I've ever broke, and I broke it after this figure had been out, which was now hard to get. So I managed to glue on the figure, etc. And I sort of regret, because there was a fella who offered to help me replace the fire leg. I don't know why I didn't take him up on it. Idiot. Anyway, that's one of my disaster stories. Then we've got Retro Rogue, which is probably in terms of the color scheme, other than the brown jacket, very close to this one, although the head sculpt seems completely different. And in fact, I was actually thought the body was that body, but it feels a little different. Then we got Age of Apocalypse Rogue at the back. Big time letdown, Mike Carey's Rogue. They were going to release this figure earlier, probably a few years earlier, and then they didn't go through with it. Now I remember that there were some of them that did get out in the wild. I never got a hold of one, which I'll always be gutted about, but it had a more accurate costume than this, although I feel like this did sort of follow, or it's just they've just made it up. And then we've got Rogue, which is meant to be based off that sort of 80s Rogue, or the late 80s Rogue, perhaps towards Extinction Agenda, around that sort of time era. However, we still haven't got that classic first sort of River Rat Rogue, when she first met the X-Men, with the really short hair. And then obviously we got 97 Rogue. So you could argue they probably overkilled it with these already. However, you know, it's nice to have another Rogue, even if it's based on that cartoon series, which brought most of the later generations into the X-Men world. It brought me into the X-Men world, because then I started reading comics, and I got, you know, I love the comics before the show now, but back then the show was everything, you know. So anyway, so there is my review of 97's Rogue. Very, very nice. Thank you for watching. Thank you to those that have subscribed. Like my channel, please subscribe as well. I really appreciate that. Make sure you look after yourself. And as always, embrace geekiness. Take care. Goodbye.